in an effort to provide a financial boost to elevate their businesses. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Small Business and Entrepreneurship, Delreen Taylor, said one of the fundamental pillars the ministry would have identified, which is critical for entrepreneurs, is access to finance, and especially coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, where small businesses were greatly impacted. She pointed out that some of them are still probably not in operation or are trying to find their footing to get back to where they were before the pandemic affected everyone. According to Ms. Taylor, the intention of the program is not to start as a new business, but to assist those existing businesses that need the boost. The deadline for application is Friday, the 8th of September. And for more information, you can contact the Ministry of Small Business and Entrepreneurship through government headquarters at 465-2521. Moving now to news on the regional scene. Acute leukemia accounts for approximately 69% of all cancer cases in children aged 0 to 19 in Guyana. This revelation comes as the country participates in Cancer Awareness Month. Carice Gonzalez provides more details in this report.
This is according to Chief Medical Officer Dr. Narain Singh, who was a guest on the Ministry of Health Matters show last week.
Childhood cancer is responsible for the most common cause of death among the child and adolescent population. That is the population between 1 to 19 years old. It is one of the most common cause of death among that population. In Guyana, we see the 5 most common childhood cancer include, the most common one is actually the leukemias, acute lymphoblastic leukemias, which account for about 69% of the cancers that we see in that population.
Acute lymphocytic leukemia is a type of cancer of the blood and bone marrow, the spongy tissue inside bones where blood cells are made. It can also occur in adults, though the chance of a cure is greatly reduced. While childhood cancers are not easily detected, Dr. Singh said that there are some signs and symptoms to be on the lookout for.
Many times when we see when a child is diagnosed with cancer, it's sometimes usually late, and that impacts on their prognosis. And so we wanted them to, our members of the public, to be aware that cancers do happen in children and in adolescent population, and sometimes a lot of the signs and symptoms are actually sometimes subtle, and they can be mistaken for some other minor illnesses. And a lot of time they do present with symptoms, but when they do get diagnosed, it is usually sometimes late. And this impacts on the prognosis in terms of what we can do for them in terms of treatment, or if we can help actually cure the cancer.
The Health Ministry, he noted, is equipped to provide treatment and medication for childhood cancers and even provide financial assistance for overseas treatments. Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is observed every September to create awareness of the impact of cancer in children and their families around the world. Carice Gonzalez reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Youth Development and National Service, Foster Cummings, is committed to introduce 1,500 new farmers by 2025 and said they're well on the way to doing so. TTT News' Sunil Lala has the details.
Speaking at an orientation program on Monday, Minister Foster Cummings said his ministry's youth and agriculture programs continue to attract young people to the sector. Together with the Youth Agriculture Homestead Program, YAP, the Youth Shade House Project and the Youth Aquaculture Project, the minister said enrollment numbers are encouraging.
Not too far from now, we will enroll another 200 young persons in the part-time program. When you add that to what we're doing with UWI in terms of the Shade House program, which will graduate 300 in 3 years, and the aquaponic program, which will also graduate 100 per annum, you can see that we are well on our way to introducing 1,500 new farmers by 2025.
And Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture, Avinash Singh, said these programs continue to ensure that the issue of the aging farming population is taken care of.
The statistics are undeniable. And according to the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, the average age of farmers in many Caribbean countries has been steadily rising, with many farmers well into their 60s and 70s. Globally, the situation is no different.
And Dean of the Faculty of Food and Agriculture at the UWI, Professor Mark Woodivera, believes such initiatives would assist this country to meet its CARICOM commitment to reduce the food import bill by 25% by 2025.
And this aligns very well with the Trinidad and Tobago's post-COVID-19 pandemic roadmap, emphasizing the need to bolster the agricultural sector to reduce dependence on unreliable and costly food imports.
The orientation program saw over 300 persons being given the opportunity to join the youth and agriculture programs. Sonolala, TTT News.
Internationally, at least 2 people have died after heavy rains lashed Spain, triggering flash floods that forced the closure of Madrid metro lines and high-speed rail links. Helicopters were sent to rescue people who had sought refuge on the roofs of their homes in Toledo, about 31 miles southwest of Madrid, on Monday. Al Jazeera's Sonia Gallego reports.
On land, on the metro, torrential rains wreaking havoc across Spain. As motorists faced flooded roads, emergency services tended to more than 1,200 incidents in the Madrid region alone, where sudden heavy rain caused chaos after a summer of record temperatures. In Toledo, the capital of the Castilla-La Mancha region, the city's industrial area was inundated. Trains were cancelled, leaving residents and tourists alike stranded.
It was really crazy. We kept going outside and we were looking at the clouds. We're like, okay, are we going to be safe? What's going to happen? But it just kept raining.
But even catching a bus proved difficult, as garages were heavily flooded, leaving vehicles stuck amid the mud. In the Catalan town of Alcanar, the downpour turned this rural road into a river, confining residents to their homes, leaving behind a trail of damage in its wake.
We organised amongst ourselves to make ropes with towels and bedsheets and used them to pull 2 young men who were grabbing onto the columns. We pulled them to the top floor and saved them. It was terrifying, very, very scary, with small children, women. Nobody showed up. We were left alone to save ourselves.
While the ferocity of the rains has begun to subside, the damage they caused remains evident, and the clear-up significant. Spain's National Weather Service has lowered the alert level from red to yellow, but it is far from normal for many to resume their usual activities in the worst affected areas. Sonia Gallego, Al Jazeera.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news.
We'll be right back with the weather after this.
When hurricane season strikes, businesses need a partner who's ready to go the extra mile. One who understands the challenges and has experience to mitigate the risks. Trust C&W Business, your safety net in the eye of